coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast. We were doing some house hunting, and we're also grinding it out at a real tough Quail Hollow venue for the Wells Fargo, where a familiar face returned to form. Plus, a new Super League enters the fold, which we need to get into real quick, and a streak intact on the podcast as well. We're tuned into some YouTube beef and a throwback show as well. And this week's guest is stand-up comedian, golfer, and great content creator in general, Jake Adams. He went on an amazing journey, which he talks us through as well. And all of it is brought to you by our friends at Active Body. It's Active Body, and it's the Active 5 unit. It's the quick way that I work out 5-10 minutes a day in the comfort of my own home. I use that portable Active 5 unit wherever I go. It's easy at home, or you can bring it on the road. It connects directly to your phone, and it's a really easy way to get quick workouts in, to keep you stretched, relaxed, refreshed, ready to go. So again, it's Active 5 in the Active Body unit. Our promo code is COL for 20% off. Again, COL for 20% off your Active 5 unit today at activebody.com.
Interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life, part of the Morning Read Podcast Network. We are proud to be presented by our friends at Desert Fox Golf, Groove It Golf, and Tosi Snacks. I'm Michael, he's Alex. And Alex, it was time to look at all the homes we could never afford lining the fairways of Quail Hollow in the Charlotte area for the Wells Fargo Championship. Which house did you pick out for yourself?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, this was amazing. I had warned everyone last week. I was like, oh, by the way, like Sneaky, the nicest house hunting on the PGA Tour is done this week outside of Charlotte here at Quail Hollow. Just a lovely, classic North Carolina, Southern style golf venue with these tree-lined mansions. And Mike, the gaudiness was really in like the second and third story of these mansions. They all had the ground level pool, the fancy accoutrements outside, but it was like the third floor porches, overlooking the master bedroom and whatnot. They really take it to the next level there.
Yeah, it just continues to drive home the fact that I'm never going to amount to anything in my life.
You're not close to that at all, is what you're saying?
No. I think we'd need to win the lottery twice in order to afford a house like that.
Yes, or maybe 15 or 20 winners in a row on the PGA Tour, right?
Yeah, that's true too.
We're real close to that as well.
Yeah. We're real close to that as well. But let's not bury the lead like we typically do here. Let's go right to Rory McIlroy. Because, hey, he's back in the winner's circle. He finally got another W, his third at the Wells Fargo. What did you think of his play during the course of the weekend?
I mean, he loves it here. This is where it all started for him. If you remember the young, shaggy-haired Rory, remember when he still had those curls popping out of the side of his ears and
he had like little chipmunk cheeks because he still had some of the baby fat on him.
That's right. He made a bomb of a putt. I think it was to shoot 61 or something like that on Sunday to win his first PGA Tour tournament at Quail Hollow. So he's got very good vibes coming back to this course. Did it again in 2015 here. And he'd been off the last few months. You remember Justin Thomas came out and said a couple weeks ago, I'm surprised how off Rory's been. He's going to find some form real soon. Just you watch. Sure enough, that prediction came true. He got back to a friendly venue and struck the ball really well and had a one-shot victory. And it's like nothing ever happened to him.
Yeah. So now the question is he going to win a Kiwa?
Yeah, I mean, because that's right around the corner. It's after next week here. Here we go. We're 1 week away from a major championship week, and he had I think it was an 8-shot victory at Kiwa Island in the ocean course there. So they returned there for the first time since that. He's now immediately, this is the way golf works with the betting odds. You just you throw out the fact that he was in a slump for a few months and just immediately put him at the top of your betting sheet because he likes familiarity with courses and he's playing well. So that's all he needed to know.
Yep. Let's look at everything else that happened over the course of the week before we get into next weekend's AT&T Byron Nelson. Let's start on Thursday because Phil Mickelson came out of the box and just posted a 64 and went, yo, guys, I'm still here. I can still play.
Yes. I appreciated that. And this was my 9 core value shout out too. And it was respect. We got to show quick respect here. I know it was just one round. We did not see him on the leaderboard on Sunday, but this was nice. It's nice to get that reality check because there was some chirping on Twitter with him and Joel Damon, his playing partner, about how maybe Phil should spend more time on the Champions Tour. And Phil said, oh no. oh no, I still got game and I can go low out here. So respect to Phil Mickelson. That's our first T9 core value this week, because it was just nice to see him just thrive out of the gate at a familiar venue. And, again, even if this doesn't last the entire week, it still feels good for a day.
It does. Speaking of respect, Beefy Bryson did not give the cut line respect.
No, yes, he did not. Thank you for getting to this, because I had kind of forgotten. I'd written this down on Friday evening after I saw this, and I was like, oh, man, this was actually my favorite part of the week, is a Bryson error that had nothing to do with golf at all, really. So he finished Friday at 1 over, and he was in 78th place. I think it's top 16 ties or something like that, made the weekend. So he hopped on his jet back to Dallas. So this isn't as big of an issue as it would be for you or I, because we would be flying Southwest and frantically searching airline to airline for a flight back. But fortunately, once he found out upon landing in Dallas that he did make the cut, he just hopped on the jet right back for a Saturday morning tee time. But a little bit of a whoopsie daisy for Bryson there.
Whatever. I think he said that he went home just to work out, and then he came back. He wanted his own workout space.
I don't know if he got caught in a semi-lie there or something like that, because it was strange the way he posted the message saying see you tomorrow morning, Charlotte, but as if he knew he made the cut.
He was caught on a mic on the driving range saying that he got on the plane in Charlotte thinking he was cut and got landed in Dallas seeing he made the cut. So
love that. He just turned to his caddy. He's like, oh, whoops, sorry about that.
Guess so we're going back.
Turn around. He did play the weekend, indeed, made it back as well too. Just another odd story in the adventures of Beefy Bryson.
That's just it's always a day for Beefy Bryson. So Rory wins at Quail Hollow. We'll keep an eye on him for Kiawah at the PGA coming up in 2 weeks. Let's turn our attention to all the oil money floating around in the world of golf. Would you go play on another tour for $30 million?
No, it depends where I was in my career, honestly. This is what I wanted to do, is kind of weigh this with you. So essentially, we had the Premier Golf League take form kind of right before COVID hit, ironically. That all went to shambles quickly. Now we have a new, separate, very extremely shady Saudi oil money entity coming through and calling themselves a Super League. There was a ginormous controversy with a Super League trying to be formed in English soccer. That burned to flames extremely quickly. And now a Super League in golf allegedly offered somewhere in the neighborhood of $30 million to top tier players like Justin Rose and Dustin Johnson to quite literally just leave your life behind. Here's this giant wad of money and just come play in our league and do as we say. What were your thoughts when you first saw this headline?
I obviously once again chose the wrong profession. Yeah,
I know. The money's just everywhere in golf, in case you don't know by now and haven't been listening enough.
So that's a problem. The other thing that was interesting was the player meeting that was held this week, where the commissioner came out and said that if you decide to jump ship to another league, you're done. You're never playing in the PGA Tour again.
Yeah, that's harsh. That was a quick, harsh stance there from Jay Monahan. He was not mincing words there. And the philosophical question I wanted to get to is is there a player or is there a number where this gets to be an offer that a player might take? And I think about this from a perspective of a guy, let's talk about a guy like Justin Rose, who already has a major championship, already has an Olympic gold medal. He is a happy husband and father. He is in his 40s now. Is there a player that they're at their certain point of the career and you told them, hey, I'm going to give you $15 million right now. Stop playing on the PGA Tour. Just play these exhibition matches once every month or so on this Super League tour and hang it up. Would there ever be a time or an offer when a top tier player at a certain point in their career might consider that? That's the question I was kind of throwing around in my mind.
I would hope not. And I think it was, I don't remember who was that said it. I think it was JT who came out and said, you want to be where the talent is. When you're this good, you want to go where the talent is. You go where their money is too, but you go there, but the talent is still around you. So that, it's different in golf maybe because than it is in team sports, where you may go to a different team based on the money, but you're still in a league that has top talent.
Right. And is this going to be, in a theoretical world, let's say they sign DJ and Justin Rose. Then what after that? How do you get guys number 3 to 200 on the PGA Tour to come and play? And then are you just bringing in kind of ringer, just money match guys from around the world to play against DJ and see if they can beat them? Like, I'm not really sure where the end game is with this, but I am curious if the offer just keeps getting raised. That's the storyline I'm looking to watch, because everyone has a price, Mike. No matter how much they cease to want to admit it, everyone's got a price. So I'm curious to see where this goes.
We'll keep an eye on it. I don't think it's going anywhere.
I don't either, but it's fun to play around. Yeah.
It's just interesting that we've been talking about it for this long already. It's just
there's people out there who want to put it into motion, Mike. So I know you and I agree there's not a lot of potential future in it, but just the idea that there's brain and money behind it, it's going to be an idea that sticks around in the game.
Mm-hmm. That's also why the PGA Tour has this $40 billion pot just for being good on social media now.
Oh, by the way, what timing there? I wonder if there's a coincidence there. There's a good connecting the dots for you.
He dubs. Max Homa realizing he doesn't need to win to get money anymore.
Yes, that's right. So just tweet, Max. Just tweet.
Let's move over to the LPGA. They were still out in Thailand. Sunbrellas out in force, and they had a local win. I said I was going to butcher the name, and now I'm scared I'm going to butcher it again.
This is exciting.
Ariya I just can't. You can
Jutanugarn,
Ariya Jutanugarn. There we go.
And don't forget her sister Ariya Jutanugarn as well too. Both in the field, but Ariya is the one who's won more a little bit. Yeah, that was the lead that you buried for me right there. The Sunbrella streak is alive. I saw Sunbrellas again this past week in Thailand, and Ariya got her win in front of the home crowd. Big comeback too, getting her 11th career win. And you could see she was much more emotional. She's typically a very stoic player on the course. Even when she does win, she was much more emotional for this one. You could tell it meant a little extra.
I mean, to come 5 strokes back over Patty T to win. I'm not going to say Patty T's last name here. We're going to move right past that one. And she becomes the first Thai LPGA player to win in Thailand.
And then because we know how big women's golf is, especially in the continent of Asia, those wins are even more magnified with the audience that's over there. So really cool to see her take that game to her homeland.
Really impressive victory. Let's talk about the first tee of Greater Austin in your backyard. The first tee in general, of course, is something we love. We love it. We keep talking about their 9 core values, and we want you all to help give back to the first tee and help grow the game.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's firstteeaustin.org/partners or /donate to learn more about our partnership with them. Excited to get out there in the coming weeks and do some content out on the course. And remember, Mike, I brought this up previously. Not only do they have a little 9-hole golf course on the facility that I'm going to play, but they have a 9-hole foot golf course. Have you ever experimented with foot golf before? Because this is going to be my debut when I get out there.
I'm not even sure I know what foot golf is, other than thinking it's soccer.
It's soccer golf, and you'll love this. The hole is about the size of like a kid's bed. It's ginormous. It's a ginormous hole to hit into for the soccer fans out there who want to interact both sports. So I'm looking forward to getting out there and seeing what the campus is like. But I love the way that they grow the game with the 9 core values, which we mentioned week in and week out. So check out the website if you want to give back to the future of golf.
It's going to be great to give back, and we can't wait to see all the things you do there and do some foot golf. It's going to be good. Let's turn our attention to the AT&T Byron Nelson Championship, the one that gets to have the honors of being before the PGA.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I remember visiting you in your past life here in Texas, and I got to go to this tournament and see Jordan Spieth in action when it was at TPC Las Colinas there. They've moved it out to TPC Craig Ranchers in McKinney, which you know well in the area as well. So it hasn't gone too far, but it is the week before a major. So I'm curious to see kind of what kind of field they attract in the end once everyone pegs it Thursday morning. But I like golf in the Dallas Metroplex. Hopefully the weather cooperates. It's always very unpredictable in that part of the land. So that's the one thing I'm asking for this week.
It's going to be interesting. It still has a very loaded looking field in terms of who they say is in the field.
Yeah.
So
that tends to change by Wednesday these days.
I know. That's the thing. I mean, we got DJ is in the field.
Allegedly.
Sergio's in the field, allegedly.
I'll say yes to Sergio because he lives in Austin, so it's close enough for him. So.
Ricky is in the field. Ricky, what's he doing lately?
It's interesting you mentioned Ricky because I was going to say we had the Jordan Spieth full circle, gets the win. We've now had Rory come full circle and get a win. He's the next guy on that list in terms of that little crop and generation of guys who have been struggling recently to get back in the winner's circle. Not saying I like him this week, just saying maybe watch out for that storyline soon.
So you don't like him this week, but you like him next week? Is that what you're saying?
Ooh, maybe, because he could be a deep sleeper, especially in a major. Why would anyone bet on Ricky Fowler right now in a major? Honestly. So the odds could be really...
Sounds like what you're telling me is you're going to put $1 down on Ricky Fowler next week.
Oh, I could. So again, Twitter is at Course of Life 1 for myself, and you're at MWRINC. I've had 3 wins on the tour so far this season. You've had 2. So we're in a pretty good race right now. And I think we're both chomping at the bit. We haven't come close in the last couple of weeks, which tells me we're about to get hot. So check out our picks on Twitter to see who we go with by Wednesday evening.
Let's turn our attention to Tuned In, where we share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. A little bit of a childhood throwback for me, because I was looking for something to just put on in the background the other day, and I realized I had Paramount Plus, and Paramount Plus has access to Nickelodeon. And Nickelodeon content includes the likes of Guts.
Oh, man.
Yes. Do you have it, Alex? Do you have
a
Guts?
vague memory in my brain of a lot of action. It was like an action, like a sporty sport kind of show, right?
Yeah. It was kids doing different physical sport activities. So they did like
a junior American Gladiator.
Yeah. So they would do, and it finished with them climbing the mountain, the crag.
The mountain. Yes, the crag.
Yes, the crag. Yes. And hosted by comedian Mike O'Malley. I think he's from Massachusetts, isn't he?
Oh, wow, he is. Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Boston guy.
So just a huge throwback to that. And it was everything I remember it being.
Nice. That is a good child memory. Unfortunately, great segue to a not so great child memory for me, which got brought up this past week. And it revolves around me being a hat wearer when I was a kid. So basically what's going on to set the stage for you, since I know you've got no idea what's going on here. Floyd Mayweather,
actually do know what's going on here, surprisingly.
Do you know about the Floyd Mayweather-Logan Paul match?
I do. I've seen the video of this particular incident.
So this is a great moment. So Floyd Mayweather, champion boxer, basically hung it up. However, like I said earlier, everyone's got a price, and his is allegedly in the neighborhood of $100 million, because that's how much is potentially on the line for him to fight against YouTuber extraordinaire turned professional boxer Logan Paul. He is maybe one of the most hateable guys on the internet. That's neither here nor there. They're going to fight, and that's going to be entertaining. They got head-to-head. It was actually him and his brother Jake that got head-to-head and nose-to-nose, talking some trash, in the build-up to the fight. And Jake did the unthinkable, Mike. He just took Floyd Mayweather's hat and he said, "I got your hat," and ran away. And that is a classic prank that will absolutely annoy anyone. It brought me back to my childhood days of getting my hat taken on the playground. I mean, that no matter where you are or how old you are in life, getting your hat taken, still just completely humiliating.
I mean, if you're asking to get, the crap beaten out of you, then that's how you do it.
It is, yes. You're really inviting it. So Jake really just kind of stirring the pot for his brother there in the fight. Logan was asked about it afterwards. He said, "Oh, no, man, I asked Jake not to take the hat, but he did, alas, take the hat." So lots of drama building up to that fight next month. Or maybe arguably two of the most hateable people on the internet. And Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul going head-to-head should be entertaining, to say the least.
It's, I've just never been a fan of boxing. I'm just not there.
It'll be a spectacle just around the fight itself. The build-up will be entertaining next week. We'll be sure to headline any future I Got Your Hat moments as well.
We will. Let's get into this week's guest. Alex, you had a chance to talk to a comedian. I love it when we have comedians on, because then we get to laugh for a while and it's funny. And it's a comedian who likes to golf, which makes it even better, because then, it kind of ties into everything we do.
It was so freaking awesome to talk with Jake Adams, a stand-up comedian who's been out in LA doing comedy for a while and done a lot of really funny golf content as well, too. He embarked on this crazy new mission where he decided he was going to hit a golf ball in all 50 of the United States in 30 days in the month of April. So we're going to walk through the entire thing and hear it from start to finish.
It's aggressive.
Yeah.
It is. We'll get into that and see how he did. But first, as always, this interview is brought to you by Desert Fox Golf, our friends of the show and the makers of the Phone Caddy. The Desert Fox team is based in Arizona, so they know golf, and the Phone Caddy is crafted by both golfers and engineers. The Phone Caddy is unique because it mounts right onto your golf cart in seconds in a place where you can actually see and use your phone, keep your yardage and scoring apps at your fingertips, change music, answer calls and texts, and more, all with the Phone Caddy from Desert Fox. It's the most functional way to keep your phone safe and ready on the course at all times. The Phone Caddy works seamlessly with almost any phone model, except maybe for an old Nokia like flip phone.
Yes, but just maybe. But if you found your way into the 21st century, I think your phone's going to fit.
I think you're going to be okay. And this thing is so awesome, it quickly becomes a talk of your foursome. Like every time I play with new people, they're like, what is that?
That's not a joke. I just played with a couple guys last weekend. And because of the orange color, they've got a whole bunch of different colors that you can get on the website. Because of the orange color, mine really sticks out. And you see it, and they're just like, what is that thing you attach to your, and then you just flip your phone and they're like, their mind is blown immediately.
Yeah,
really is talk of the town.
It's pretty awesome. And you can save 10% off your purchase. And when you see everyone else looking at it, you can tell them that they can save 10% off their purchase too of a Phone Caddy with the promo code Course of Life. It comes in that bright orange. It comes in a whole lot of other colors. Plus, you can show your support with their patriotic lines. So head on over to desertfoxgolf.com to get your Phone Caddy. And don't forget, use the promo code Course of Life to save 10%. Again, that's promo code Course of Life at desertfoxgolf.com.
Next up on the tee, we have a comedian and golf enthusiast who's part of the Country Club Adjacent podcast, and he just finished an amazing trip across the 50 states. It's Jake Adams joining us here on the Course of Life. Jake, how you doing today?
Hey, good, Alex. Thanks so much for having me, man.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing all about this trip. So for those of you who don't know, it was 50 states in 30 days, hitting a golf ball on camera in every single one. I started following a few days into April. And to be honest, by the time the month ended, I was feeling a little sad. I got a little sad that the journey ended, but I'm glad that we get to catch up on it. I'm curious, when was the idea originally born to do this challenge for you?
I had the idea probably 4 or 5 months before, but obviously had to wait until the weather was a little bit better and a month that I had that could just take the entire month off. It's never easy just to be like, all right, I'm going to just take a month and just do a thing. But, I got so attached onto the vision of how fulfilling and cool this thing would be that I was like, I'm just going to make it happen,
I love that.
Yeah.
Love the energy there. So I'm curious because I've seen on your social media, you've done past golf related challenges as well, hitting a ball in different spots every day and whatnot. I'm curious from your perspective now, looking back, what do you think it was about this idea specifically that kind of really made it pop, grow your audience and get you out to a larger audience as well?
I think it was probably just a couple factors. The scale of the actual challenge of not knowing if this kid is going to be able to finish. People watching somebody possibly fail,
Yeah.
It's in our culture to watch somebody in a live forum not be able to do what he wants is pretty entertaining. But also, and then just I tried to make it as entertaining as possible. So I didn't just stop on the side of the highway in each state. I went out of my way to find really cool landmarks or just beautiful spots of each state. And also just for my own enjoyment, right? Because I wanted to see all these places in the country that people always talk about.
Definitely, yeah. And as you were crossing off the X's on each state, honestly, I never had a doubt you were going to finish. It's funny you mentioned that, but interesting perspective. The thought of it possibly not happening. Let's talk about some of the fun states along the way that I wanted to highlight in the 50 that you touched them all. Let's go to West Virginia though, because I'm a big football guy and a big college football guy. I saw you got the chance to hit a ball in West Virginia, not just any spot, but quite literally on the football field where the Mountaineers play. Talk to me about the background of coordinating that with the kicker as well.
Yeah, that's just the power of the internet, right? Because I put all the videos on TikTok, and it's so much easier on that forum to get way more eyeballs on it. And one of the first days the West Virginia just like TikTok account just commented and was like, we know a place in West Virginia you could hit a golf ball. So then I just like, immediately followed up, and I actually had to make like another follow-up video to really get their attention. But then the kicker commented as well, and I'm like, all right, well, if you want to get something done in football, just contact the kicker, because it seems like he's probably got some more time on his hands.
Yes.
So yeah, it was so cool. I've never actually even been to like a college football field or on it, So yeah, I was stoked to be able to. It's such a cool place in Morgantown is so fun.
And how much, I guess, was planned day to day? I'd heard that you'd taken a couple days in advance of the trip before April started to plan out kind of your routing. But did you have an idea of what you were going to do in every state, or were some of them just a complete mystery until you got there?
I mean, some of them was just like, I just put down a city, and I was hoping along the way I would find, that people would hit me up and say, hey, you got to come here. You got to come to this spot. And that happened surprisingly in just like an overwhelming amount. So yeah, so it was all kind of tentative from the beginning. There was a couple spots that I knew that I wanted to go to. But yeah, like going to Paynes Valley Tigers course, I didn't know that until like a day before that I was going to be able to do that, or Banded Dunes, or like a bunch of these other spots that just kind of all came together.
Yeah, that famous 19th hole that we talked about on the podcast as well too, in Tigers match. Very cool setting as well, Paynes Valley. Let's talk about Oklahoma, because I know there's a little bit of a story behind that. How did you get things going with the state troopers on the side of the highway there? From what I understand, you were just kind of driving in a really, really random, strange area, and they kind of found you. Is that right?
Yeah, I was trying to avoid them. I was definitely speeding on the highway, and they had one of those speed traps set up where one cop was faced one way, the other was faced the other way, and they ended up pulling. There was just only me on the road, it was just like middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, and they pulled out right behind me, and they followed me for about 15 minutes, and I was like, all right, well, this is it. It was a good run, but I'm going to go to jail in Oklahoma. And this is just who I am now. But so I ended up pulling over in a gas station just to try to like get them from behind me. And they pulled up right behind me. And their question was, what are you doing in this, in Oklahoma, like around here with California plates? Because I guess there's like some sort of like, some like drug smuggling going on through Oklahoma, but I was in a park that you don't really drive through. So I was like, I just explained to them what I was doing. I was hitting the golf ball in all the states, and I'm on state 10 or something at that point. And the cop's follow-up question was like, what kind of driver are you hitting? So I'm like, nice. Man, this guy plays the game. And yeah, just immediately my mind went to like, okay, well, I was going to drive like another 5 hours from there to go to the Tiger King Zoo.
Oh, geez, shout out Joe Exotic.
Yeah. It was going to be way out of my way. So I was like, hey, let's just try to knock this out now. It'd be so cool. And the whole time I was always like kind of thinking of the montage at the end. And like, I just wanted as many different shots as possible. So yeah, any opportunity to like involve some more people, or, do something with, a cop or something that just looks different in that way. I was always trying to accomplish that.
Love that. Yeah. It's Jake Adams 3 on Instagram. If you want to check out the montage of everything you did in April, 50 states, 30 days, a golf ball in every single one. My favorite, I got to shout out Nebraska. I love that you teed one up on an ear of corn as well too. And was that like a glow ball to a specific place, or where was that shot hit specifically?
Oh yeah, so that was just like I found a park. The name of the park is escaping me right now, but it was kind of on the outskirts of the city, and it was at nighttime. I had to like be in Iowa the next morning at like 8 a.m. or something. So I bought all these glow balls in the beginning of the trip, just in the thought of like, man, I got to get through 50 states. Some of them probably will have to be at night.
Yes.
But these glow balls look so cool. I mean, as you've probably seen when you hit them. So especially with the city in the backdrop. So that shot was super fun.
And just so everyone knows out there, I know you addressed this too. All biodegradable balls that you were using. There were a lot that went into some water hazards, and people were asking. So just to clarify, all in the up and up. I appreciate you did that as well too. But let's talk about the water as well, because I saw you jumping in lots of bodies of water. Was that your idea specifically, or was that just a random suggestion along the way?
No, I mean, so my last 30-day challenge that I did last year, I hit a golf ball into my lake. There's a lake next to my house that I stayed for quarantine. It was during April, and it was so cold in Massachusetts. But then I jumped in every day to the lake with like all my clothes on. Just like a really dumb, like just like entertaining enough for people to be like, why is this guy doing this? So I've always just like, a through line to all the challenges. I'll end up jumping in some bodies of water for sure.
Great for the montage as well too. And I'm originally from the Boston area. Where was it in Massachusetts that you were hanging out at?
Oh, dude, I grew up on Cape Cod, so it was like in Barnstable.
Very cool. Awesome. Got family in Dennis. That's a great area and some nice golf courses down there too. Neat. Let's talk about Hawaii, because I got to get to the coolest spot that I saw on the journey. And you can tell me if I'm wrong, but there was a golf course that you played at the end of this all after checking Alaska and Hawaii that looked like the set of Jurassic Park. Tell everyone about the experience you had when you finally checked off every state and got to finish in Hawaii.
I mean, dude, it was the greatest, just to be able to, I took an entire day, just slept in my hotel room.
Not bad.
The last day I was in Hawaii, I had the day open, and I bailed on a 4 a.m. hike. I went on a hike the night before with these guys were awesome, but shout out this man Jimster. But he's just like an intense hike man, and he asked me if I wanted to do a hike the next day. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm down for sure. I got the whole day. And then he's like, okay, so 4 a.m., bring snacks.
Whoa.
I'll bring some chains for your shoes. And I'm like, oh, I'm actually out. So I was like, I'm just going to try to play some golf, my guy. So I've been working down there with this Hawaii golf company named Oahu Golf Apparel. And they just hooked me up with this. They were like, you have to play this course. It's called Royal Hawaiian Golf Club. And it's literally like you're in Jurassic Park. Every shot, every time you go from a hole to a hole, there's like vines hanging down. And I don't know if you remember that shot in like Happy Gilmore where he hits a golf ball into the mountains.
Yes.
Kind of like every single shot out there is that picturesque. It's the coolest thing to just hit a drive up in the air and it just goes directly into the mountains in the backdrop. And it's, on 18 holes.
Yeah. Royal Hawaiian. That's a bucket list course for sure. I love that. Awesome. Yeah. Very cool part and a nice way to finish the journey, man. Jimster, he wasn't playing around that 4 a.m. hike, was he? That's an aggressive start time.
No, Jimster plays no jokes when it comes to hikes.
Love it. Again, it's golfer and comedian Jake Adams joining us here on Course of Life. 50 states, 30 days. You completed hitting a ball in every one. And some of the other things I wanted to get to, what were your background as well, too, because you connect golf and comedy in some really cool ways. I saw that you had the opportunity to be part of the Connor Moore Show, which is on Golf Pass as well, too. You've done some really cool swing commentary videos as well and sketches. Tell me what that experience has been like to kind of mold the two passions of yours and put them on screen.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fun to do because, and it's also fulfilling because, I've caddied for so many years of my life. And just to have to like fake laugh at these like really bad or uncomfortable jokes, just because this old dude is paying you. But he like wants to like act cool in front of his friends.
Right.
While he's on the golf, he's just being himself, but like, that's just what he knows or whatever. So I was always so hesitant. I've been doing stand up for almost like 10 years. And, for the first like 7 of them, I was so hesitant to make any jokes around golf because I'm like, that's who my demographic is, the guy who's like still in a fraternity, but and he's like 70, but at a golf course,
Got it. Yeah.
But so I was just a couple of years ago, I was just like, man, there's got to be a way that I can do this in my own voice, and that's fun for me. The first thing I did was I went to an LPGA Tour event in Los Angeles at Wilshire Country Club, and I just did like a man on the street kind of interviews. Just wrote some jokes before, and just kind of wanted to play with, just almost like when you're messing with the 1%, because it's like the people that are watching golf. You have a lot more leeway to kind of push some boundaries.
Definitely.
And that's kind of what I did. And it was all satirical. And, none of the videos did great, but the feedback they did get really kind of gave me the confidence to keep going. And, ever since then, I've just kind of been going hard in making some content within the comedy world that, also involves golf. And it's been so awesome because there's just so many opportunities within golf because everybody, for the most part, has been so dry. And to come in, as myself and my three buddies who we all do this podcast together, they're all professional stand-up comedians, and each one of us have been doing it like 9 or 10 years. So it comes like natural for us to, just to kind of push some boundaries and be like, be funnier than most people get to be in the golf industry because we've sat in the worst open mics every night of our life for so many years and just learning the craft.
Yeah, it's very enjoyable. Listen, it's country club adjacent. Again, we're just trying to be half as funny as you guys there. It's really entertaining for golf fans and just people who aren't into the game as well too. It's a really good universal listen. In terms of the other comedy you've done in golf, I do want to get to stand up, but first there is a cool video I mentioned because we talked a lot about the Matt Kuchar being a cheapskate saga on the PGA Tour. It's something that's come up in the last couple of years, and I know that there was a video involving you and Kuchar's caddy as well too, where there was an interesting interaction. I want you to kind of walk us through that interaction because I can't quite catch the exact words of what he says to you, but I'd like to hear how it went down from your perspective.
Okay, you can curse on this podcast?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so if anybody doesn't know, Matt Kuchar, I don't know, it was like a couple of years ago now, but he won a tournament in Mexico and then gave his caddy like $5,000 or something. For
over 1 million winnings. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. He won over 1 million. And it's pretty universal where you give your caddy 10% of your winnings. That's every single player on tour does that. And instead of like $100,000 or $120,000, he gave his caddy $5,000. And then he also, like, the way he handled it was kind of weird. And as a caddy, again, like that was my background. So I was still caddying at the time. I took a personal offense. So I just thought it'd be like a funny joke to like hand his caddy $20 and just be like, hey man, like I know you could probably, at the end probably use this. So I got you. And his caddy just like, as a good caddy should, but just, I thought he would laugh it off, but he just completely defended Cooch. And he called me, he said that's a real dick move. We caught that on camera, and that video kind of went viral a little bit.
I appreciate you doing that for all the people who've been speaking out against that action from Kuchar. You definitely were a soldier for everyone in that fight. So I appreciated seeing that video. That was a great clip that I caught.
Yeah, I mean, and at that point in my career, like I didn't have any followers really, and you've got to throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and just to kind of get a seat at the table, and then it really, there's so many different ways to gain a following, but I think what matters the most is about the kind of umbrella of your career. And, I hope people, which I don't think they see me as that anymore, but like would not just be like, hey, it's the dude who got yelled at by Kuchar's caddy or whatever. I want to do a lot of great things through this game and grow the game. And that's kind of my goal throughout my career.
Let's talk about the comedy background that I did mention earlier. I've seen you play shows on your social media all across the country. You've been in it for a while, like you mentioned. We recently had a stand-up comedian, Jade Catapretta, on as well too, who had some really interesting words about kind of nerves, pre-show versus getting on stage and how that relaxes her actually. What's that like for you, having so much experience in stand-up? Are you kind of more nervous in the build-up to hopping on stage, or when you actually hit the stage, and how do you tackle those emotions?
Jade's awesome.
She is. So it's hilarious.
She's super fun to hang out with. Dude, I'm a nervous wreck. Before, like, I'm pacing because, my friends, like the other guys on my podcast, we've done some shows together, and they just like go up and they just kind of like riff or whatever. But I write jokes, that's I'm nothing if I'm not like wildly prepared. And if I'm not like so prepared that I don't feel like I have the room to riff. So before a show, I'm just like walking around, looking at like the smallest notebook of words that nobody could recognize. But then it's like as soon as you get on stage and that first joke hits, every single nerve is gone. And it's like, all right, here we go. Like, this is what I know how to do. And this is like the most like fun thing in the world. So yeah, before show, I like it's like I've had the shanks for a while.
Nice.
And I'm setting up like on 18, and I'm having a pro shot, and I just know it's coming. Like that's my headspace before going onto a show. Even though I've done stand up like probably tens of thousands of times at this point. But yeah, that's just
still the first tee jitters, huh? I like that. Nice.
Yeah, I'm just a sweat festival before, but it all goes away immediately. And then like, if you saw my persona on stage, you would never know. Cause like, I'm like very chill and I don't like get too overexcited or about anything. I'm just like just telling jokes.
Yeah, harboring that nervous energy in the right way. You figured out how to do it. Very cool. Again, it's Jake Adams. Let's finish with some quick shots now, because I know that you are always looking at what's possibly next. And I'm hearing the next challenge is kind of already being whispered about. Talk to me about there being 50 countries in Europe. Is this something that we could actually see in the pipeline soon, or are we going to have to save up some money for that travel budget?
So like the coolest thing about doing this trip is, I was able to do it really all on my own. I mean, I had an amazing sponsor in Pins and Aces that paid for.
That was your shirt that you were wearing, right, throughout the journey? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool.
They paid for most of it, but, just as far as just like building out this platform, I really just kind of did, through my own, putting out these videos and everything. So that's like a great tool to be able to show to bigger companies. And there's been some really cool golf companies and sports companies that have already reached out and showed a lot of interest into doing Europe. So nice. Yeah, like maybe it'll be somewhere on the Golf Channel, or even ESPN has been like, hey, I'd love to be involved in the next one. So I just want to also do it right, because, through this trip, I did mess up at times. Like I thought by hitting just biodegradable golf balls that I was taking the right precautions, but I didn't also realize the magnitude of hitting something that's foreign into one of our national parks, biodegradable or not, and just like the importance of the footprint you're leaving behind. Yeah. So next time when I do Europe, I just want to make sure I do things the right way and find like a cool charity to be involved, and kind of just be able to take it to the next level. Nice. But yeah, Europe is definitely on the back burner.
We've got a weird obsession with the European tour on this podcast too. We just love the vibes and the views and the venues that they hit up. So definitely get in touch with them because they're great on social media too. So I think that collaboration should definitely be in the works for that venture in Europe. Let's talk about favorite clubhouse on the journey. You played some golf. You didn't quite get to a bunch of golf courses. You did get to some along the way, but what was the nicest clubhouse you saw on your journey through the 50 states?
Man, nicest clubhouse. Paynes Valley was pretty incrable. Dallas, the Cowboys Country Club.
Yes.
In Dallas. That was pretty cool because I filmed like a lot of like shower reviews of country clubs that I got to edit together because I took a lot of showers at golf courses. But the Dallas Cowboys one was super cool because all the lockers were like famous players and stuff.
Nice touch.
Yeah,
cool.
It was a pretty sweet one for sure.
On a related note to that, based on the showers you took, what was the most questionable place you slept in throughout the journey in the month of April?
Oh man, there's a couple for sure. Just like waking up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, for no reason other than the office was based there. They didn't even shoot it there, but right. I just like waking up in like a parking lot of Scranton. I'm like, man, what am I doing in my life? Like why am I this guy right now? But as far as like sketchy, Kentucky was weird. Kentucky was really weird. Like I ended up driving up to this like forest in Kentucky at like 2 a.m. because I didn't want to do it in the morning. And I got up there and it was just like pitch dark. And there was like one other car up there that was sketching me out. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to sleep alone in a forest in Kentucky. So then I drove all the way down to like a parking lot and some guy like was sketching me out at like 3:30 in the morning and woke me up. So then it was the worst night of sleep ever, but I ended up just like driving to like a hospital in Kentucky because emergency rooms you can always sleep in because people are coming and going. So So yeah, Kentucky was a weird place to sleep for sure. I don't suggest sleeping in your car in Kentucky.
Yeah, and the pitch black forest certainly doesn't add to the comfortability there either. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awkward indeed. And then our final question we love to finish with is our 19th hole question. So I'm sure you saw some great clubhouses like you mentioned, Dallas, Ozarks, and whatnot. What's like your go-to meal when you finish a round of golf? Like a choice of meal and maybe a drink at the bar as well?
Big IPA guy, especially after, like a long journey or which can also be described as a round of golf sometimes.
Yes.
And if I'm not on any sort of diet, I think the ideal would be just like a chicken Caesar salad wrap with some hot sauce in there as well. It feels like you're almost doing a good thing because it's a wrap, but really it's probably still unhealthy because I'm eating those fries and that and an IPA and have yourself an absolute day.
Absolutely, and it's got salad in the title, so it has to be somewhat healthy too. Awesome.
Right, yeah.
Jake Adams, man, I appreciate you hopping on the Course of Life. Looking forward to the next journey. I know Europe's coming soon, and there's a lot more in store for you with golf and comedy and the Country Club adjacent podcast. Thanks again for hopping on.
Alex, thank you so much for having me, man. It was super fun.
That interview with Jake Adams is brought to you by our friends at Groove It Golf, makers of the Groove It Golf brush. You've seen it on the bag of tour caddies and your favorite athletes and golf personalities on social media, and it's the brush to have on your bag right now. This brush's patented pump sprays water or cleaning solution right onto the club face for you, making it quick and efficient to clean clubs or even your golf ball in seconds. The Groove It brush includes a detachable magnet, so you can clean the brush by bringing the brush to the club instead of the club to the brush. And the Groove It brush comes with a 3-year bristle guarantee. That means if you can wear out the brush head cleaning clubs in 3 years, send it back and Groove It will get you a free replacement. So prepare to be amazed with the consistency and control that clean grooves will give you. Using your existing golf clubs with the Groove It, you'll get the spin, trajectory, and consistency you're looking for. So head on over to grooveitbrush.com to get your Groove It brush with free shipping in the US. Again, that's grooveitbrush.com to get your Groove It brush today. And we're back. Great chat there with Jake Adams. A golf shot in all 50 states.
He did it.
That's impressive. I think what's more impressive is the balls to go up and try to hand Cooch $20.
Yes, that was freaking awesome. I'm so glad I connected the dots and realized that, he was that guy from that video that handed Cooch's caddy the 20. And I just wanted his play-by-play of the moment. So I appreciate that. Now, but Jake's a great personality, really funny guy to follow on social. And like he said, this is not the end. I didn't even realize, Mike, 50 states in the U.S., and 50 countries in Europe. I didn't even realize it was that exact same number. So that's next up for Jake. That's like definitely happening. He's traveling Europe. So it's going to be, I guess that was a road trip. So this is Euro trip, right? Is that how that works?
Yeah. Basically? Well, does he need a crew to go with him?
Yeah, I mean, you heard
it
from him. It's nice to be hooked up with sponsors that can help you along the way. But Jake, if you need a film crew, we'd be glad
to podcast team. Just people to come around and tell you good shot. Or we'll stand there with you when you're getting ready to hit it and be just like you did in Estonia, man. Just like you did in Estonia.
Exactly right. He has great support from his buddies. Again, Country Club adjacent. Love shouting out other podcasts that golf fans like us and our audience would love to listen to. It's a really funny listen. If you like them, if you like us, be sure to subscribe to them and us. It's Course of Life on YouTube. All the socials. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere. Got some more vlogs coming too, Mike. I got to send them your way, but I played a few new courses. So check out those on YouTube for all of our golfing adventures as well.
It's a lot of fun. It's a good follow if you're into that.
And if you're into it and you've already made it this far through the episode, then you should be following as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's talk about the NBA. We haven't talked about the NBA in a while. We're coming up to the NBA playoffs, which last about 6 months.
They do, yes.
Almost as long as the Stanley Cup playoffs. That lasts about 2 years.
Those are starting any day now. So heads up.
I know. They're just wrapping up 2019, so about time to start 2021. And the NBA has announced a new play-in system to get into the finals.
You seemed a little bothered by this when I mentioned this to you.
I mean, this isn't college.
Yeah, this is like a first four thing they're trying to do. Essentially, 8 teams from each conference get in. They're looking to do a play-in tournament with seeds 7 through 10 to let in those last 2 seeds into the bracket.
We're doing. I also say, let me just say this too, because you're gonna be like, Michael, you're a baseball fan. Don't you like the wild card play-in game? No, I hate the wild card play-in game. I love the game in the sense that it's really awesome to watch 2 teams that have to fight with something on the line, and it does give great momentum to one team. But I hate the concept.
Yeah,
it's baseball and basketball. All these things. It's about consistent play over the course of the season.
And like my weird theory is like they last year with the bubble, remember they had a weird amount of teams join the bubble because they were insistent on having Zion Williamson and the Pelicans be there since he's just such a highlight attraction. I wonder if like they really made this like just so they could get like certain teams and people in, like the Lakers, who are currently on the verge of being out of the playoffs, but they're probably going to be in this playoff tournament. There could be a LeBron Lakers versus Steph Curry and the Warriors play-in matchup. So I will say, even though I don't love this format, if it produces something like that, might stick around because it could be entertaining.
I mean, it could be entertaining. It's but LeBron just wants the trophy handed to him.
Yes. Overarching hatred of LeBron theme here. Not his play, but his personality. Yeah.
I respect his play. I respect everything he's done as an individual, and all. You can say whatever you want, but I think he's not my favorite player in the league.
Curious to see what comes of this 7 to 10 play-in tournament. We'll get and find out the matchups here in the next couple weeks.
We will. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll let everyone know what happens. But let's hashtag AlwaysEndWithFood.
Yes, brought to you by our friends at Toasty Bites. Perfect golf snack for anyone out there, or really just anyone who's working out, trying to stay healthy, trying to stay in shape, and eat something that is good for their system. You can put in your golf bag, gym bag, car, and they're ready to go. Top 4 flavors: almond, peanut dark chocolate, cashew coconut, and almond blueberry, which I just got in my shipment last week. I know you got a shipment as well, too. Our promo code is COL20 for 20% off. And I can't stress this enough, Mike. I love the Toasty Bites halfway through the round on the course because you need that snack to kind of give you the pick-me-up, and it's got to give you the right pick-me-up. As much as I want to be the hot dog person at the turn, I have made the conversion to having a Toasty Bite on the 10th tee. I love posting my 10th tee Toasty on social, and you should as well, too, because it just hits right, Mike. It's a nice, quick, portable snack that's easy to do on the course.
And it's cheaper than a hot dog because you already have it. So you don't need to like go to the clubhouse, get a hot dog,
exactly.
Put stuff on it. And then you got to worry about the ketchup and mustard getting all over you and the relish and all that stuff. And then it's hard to find a place to put it when you're in the cart because you got to drive, and then you got your cup, your soda, and you're trying to check your DMs on your phone. And there's all this stuff going on. Toasty's pretty contained. It's pretty easy. Just open the package, take a piece out. And you're good to go.
They're over 100 courses right now around the country. But if you don't want to go to the course and you just want to get them sent right to your door, it's Toasty.com/COL. Toasty.com/COL. Again, 20% off when you head to our website there. Promo code COL20. Enjoy Toasty Bites and Super Bites, our favorite snack on the course. That was my food moment, just because I shot 77. I gotta say it, and it was all due to the Toasty Bite. It was due to the Toasty Bite. It was the first one I had since my new shipment. So I just realized that I actually now can't play golf without a Toasty Super Bite.
Do you think that 13-year-old that's about to qualify for the PGA? Do you think he was eating Toasty Bites out there on the course?
He probably wasn't. He probably downed like 2 cheeseburgers and a Doritos and a Diet Coke before he shot 70 to advance. And he made me feel so crappy. I literally saw that tweet as I'm walking off the course, so proud of breaking 80 and seeing a teenager shoot 70. Mike, he probably would have shot 64 on the course I played Friday. That's how good the kids are these days. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
All right, that's a wrap on this week's Course of Life. Thank you for everyone tuning in. We're going to have another great episode for you next week. An exciting announcement comes along with next week's guest as well, too. So tune in.
We are going to say it next week, aren't we? We are. And
it's everything coming at your way on next week's edition of Course of Life. We'll see you next time.